local daycare facility gave us a call and let us know that the kitchen area did not seem to be cooling well, and the cafeteria people were not having a great time in there, which I can imagine being 87-degree day today. But we'll stop by, take a look, and hopefully get it going for them. Alrighty, that's a problem I have to get some stuff for. Definitely not operating. This is a fusible disconnect, and just from looking at it, I kind of thought that might be the case, just from the shape of it. What we can do is put our meter into continuity, just double check and make sure we're actually working. And I should get tone across both sides of this. So that fuse is good. This fuse is good, so we know it's not an issue there. Let's crack this guy open and see what we see then. So our contactor is not actually pulling in, but we know the air handler is working because we are getting air through the ventilation system, or the ducting system rather. So do definitely have power. We have no 24 volts coming out, so maybe something as simple as a drain line clogged up would be my guess at this point, but we'll go find out. Now we get to figure out which one it is. There's two. Imagine it's this way. So the cafeteria must be on this end, and it sounds like I hear a flue running for like a furnace. Which, well, that's cool. There's no, I don't actually see a gas hookup, so that's good. And that's a newer Goodman coil, similar to the unit outside, so this is probably it, and that's good. So we're not actually connected where we could be operating. What this likely was, being that it's a cafeteria, we have a lot of heating appliances, so a lot of times you'll find food service areas don't tend to actually have heat because they don't need it. So we've either got a safety that is vibrated loose or went bad, or somebody tried to turn the heat on not realizing it didn't heat, and it tried to ignite several times. Being that we don't have a gas connection, it never could, so it would essentially fault out and go into a lockout. So that's probably what we have going on, but we'll check it out. So first we'll check and see what's going on. See if we got white to common, nothing. Yellow to common, nothing. Green to common, nothing. And red to common. That means no low voltage. On a lot of these, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have low voltage. It means one of your safeties is probably tripped. So we'll look at our fuse, and we look good there. So what that means is either one of these safeties that's wired out, as you can see in there, is not making good contact, so it's thinking it's got a safety issue and just running the blower, running the inducer. We'll start by wiring these out. If not, we may have to get a little more creative since we're only using this as a blower cabinet. So now we've gotten rid of all of our mess of somewhat spliced but taped together guys, and we'll turn it back on. We did hear the outdoor unit kick on, so now our blower's running. So that's all it was. These safeties that were kind of wired out were just making contact and taped together in there. Well, leave it to me to get to this point in the video, and all of my files are corrupted. Not really sure if it's my SD cards or my my battery and the little camera itself. My camera's having problems, but I thought this was interesting enough to include, even if I don't have the ending of it. But what it looked like, as you saw, all these little wires were connected to our main limit rollout switches back and forth. And at some point in the past, somebody had an issue with one of the limit switches, just pulled it all loose, taped it all together on the spade clips and threw it in there, said good enough, we're not using it for a furnace anyway, and took off. uh yeah, I guess it worked for a while until the adhesive broke down and didn't really make good contact. So wiring it out, we did find out, hey, that was it, everything kicked back on. But there was a big clue here that you see right behind this gas valve. So I did find out that the main limit here was bad. And what it looked like to me, I think a little farther back here, you can kind of see, well, I think there's a better angle here. Whoop, yeah. That little stub out there should go in here and be capped off or be run to an auxiliary drain of some kind. Typically, Goodman, your drain pan, one of them will be a little lower than the other, or you'll have them at the same height, but one of them has a little, piece of plastic coming across the bottom, cutting half of it off. Um, so essentially, if this drain ever clogged up, it would overflow through there, go right down, and what is right below that? But our sensor there, or our main limit. So anyway, I went ahead and replaced that main limit. And if you would like to see footage of replacing a main limit, I think I have a video, oddly enough, in a cafeteria as well, where we did have to do that. I think it was an inducer and a main limit on a 90% furnace. Um, limit pretty much procedure is the same, but I did want to show the rest of this video. So essentially, we went ahead and put our new limit in, wired all our rollouts back in, and left them running. Yeah, it's probably never going to be used as a furnace. On the other hand, liability wise, everything else, safety wise, you don't want to just take out a limit, because you never know what's going to happen in the future. Somebody might come in and decide they want to use this as a furnace, hook gas up to it, hook a flue up to it. Hey, it lights off, everything's good, except there's no safeties. I would hope they would look, but better to make sure yourself it's safe. But in the end, got them taken care of, and we'll catch you next time.